The Elements of Harmony and Save Your Worlds by RK Striker JK5, Chapter 30. T-Rex stood in the throne room and observed the shadow bolts as they half-dragged, half-carried Megan into the room. They dropped her at his hose before turning and flying out and closing the door behind him, leaving the two alone.
So she returns now.
He knelt down and looked her over.
Welcome, hero of legend. Time has not been kind to you, it seems.
Megan clenched a fist and slowly rose to one knee. She looked up T-Rex and wiped a bit of blood from her mouth. T-Rex? But you're dead! I saw it! T-Rex barked to left.
Huh! Yes, I did die, Megan, by your hand.
Like you're expecting an apology, you'll be waiting a long time. Megan replied. She rose to her feet, biting back the growls of pain. She looked around, finding no one else there but her and T-Rex. She focused on him once more. Okay, what the hell is this? I'm gonna get revenge, right? Want me groveling before you? Begging for mercy? Not happening, T-Rex! She placed her hands on her hips and stared up at him, but her right eyebrow raised as her head only rose a bit. What? You're not as illuminating and overwhelming as before. Does yours shrink? She snapped her fingers. Oh, that's right. I grew up. T-Rex snorted.
You cost me my life, Megan. It's only fitting that you repay that debt to me with your own.
Megan's eyes narrowed. Okay. I'll clarify and all just what you're going on about, T-Rex, because I'm fairly sure if you wanted to, you could have killed me back at the Everfree's edge with your Ursa Minor. She spread her arms out. So, what's going on? Want me to beg for my life before you kill me? The centaur tossed his head back and laughed.
Oh, Megan. No. I did not mean to end your life. I mean to take your life.
He raised his hands, and the stone box beneath Megan's feet warped and began floating up around her boots, solidifying around them. He turned and walked over to a throne that sat near the back of the room. Dark mist flowed from the shadows and began swirling about in front of the throne.
I need a body to regain all of my power to leave my current situation. Once I complete the proper ritual, I shall use your body, Megan.
He looked over his shoulder, his eyes flared red.
And I shall leave you with desolate consciousness to witness the destruction of those ponies you love so much before finally casting the rest into oblivion.
He tossed his head back and reared up his hind legs, cackling. He glanced up at her.
Do not bother using any of your weapons. You cannot kill that which is already dead.
Megan sucked in several deep breaths and closed her eyes for a moment. She looked around the room, spotting no one but her and T-Rex in it. Okay, trapped in here with someone who wants to use some pretty personal revenge against me. We're alone, but like he said, he's already dead, so physical attacks won't work. The door's closed behind us, probably guarded. There's windows, but too high, probably guarded for, or at least with patrols flying by. She shifted her weight slightly, the stone beneath her suddenly slitting. She flailed her arms up out a bit before regaining balance. Megan looked down at her feet. Megan took a step forward, but Luna's wings shot forth, blocking her progress. Luna? There are sections of the floor that have weakened, she said, pointing to several patches where stones had begun to sink, the mortar no longer holding them fully in place. Megan held her arms straight out and slowly began to bend her knees and bend forward at the waist for conversation. She wavered a bit, but soon found herself on her rear end. She looked at T-Rex and breathed a sigh of relief at him, still fully absorbed in his rituals. She grabbed the hilt of her knife in its sheath and began, with a sharp tug, pulled it out. She tapped at the mortar, holding the stone back in place, digging out a small trough through it, with barely any pressure applied. Megan bent back a cry of triumph as she began chipping at the ancient mortar with her knife. T-Rex paid her no mind. His chants grew louder, and the dark cloud sucked the light from the room. He stretched his arms to the ceiling. Luna stood in the Condor's castle throne rooms. Fancy pants, Spanish steel, shining armor, cadence, and blue blood stood before her as she finished up a rather abbreviated recap of the events near Everfree. Therefore, a code T-Rex has been declared, she finished. Spanish steel spoke up. These sediments, your majesty. My history's a little rusty about them. What are they exactly? Luna focused on the Pegasus. Bodies without minds, General. I, or rather T-Rex, took shadow and molded it into flesh and blood. They are not exactly alive, but can be killed. Her eyes narrowed. And make no mistake, any of you, there is no compromise, no way to befriend them or turn them against Tirek. They are merely an extension of his will. She looked to each of them. Do you understand? Shining Armor spoke up. Understood, your majesty. No quarter asked or given for them. Luna nodded to him. She turned and trotted over to a large door set right behind the solar throne and inserted her horn into a keyhole in the center. Her horn flashed for a moment, and electric blue light traveled along grooves emanating from the keyhole. The door opened, and an ornate box floated out, wrapped in Luna's magic. She turned and faced the quintet. I apologize for the rush, but time is short. If we don't hurry, T-Rex will possess Megan's body, regain his full power, and attempt to usher in a new dark age. Fancy Pants held up a hoof. No need to say anything more, your majesty. We'll take care of things here while you storm the castle for the Magne and fulfill the final prophecy of the moon chick. May the herd travel with you. Luna smiled and bowed her head to him. Thank you, Chancellor. I leave the defense of this fair city in your capable hooves. She turned, galloped over to a balcony overlooking the Everfree, and spread her wings out. She hopped up and flew off, the box trailing behind her. The five turned to each other, forming a loose circle. Right then, Fancy Pants began. I believe that the first order of business is getting everyone into shelters. I'll get that organized and started the moment before heading into the war room. Heard knows there won't be much in the way of actual government going on at the moment. The group began walking toward the door at the far end of the throne room. I'll give you a hoof with that, Kane said. She let out a breath. Not sure what else I could do, to be honest, she admitted. Fancy Pants bowed his head to her. Any assistance would be most welcome, my dear. Shining Armor looked to Span Steel. General, request permission to denied, Span Steel said. He turned his head and looked at Shining Armor out of the corner of his eyes. No, you cannot go to Pennyfield. I need you here for the defense of Catalan itself. The royal guard needs his captain, Armor. Shining Armor's cheeks turned red. He turned around to face Span Steel. General, please! My sister's there and... Span Steel's right wing, armored and honed to a razor's edge, shot out, swiping at Shining Armor's left flank. The unicorn's horn flared as Steel sprang up, deflecting the blow. That is why I need you here, Span Steel said. Your steel spell could be the difference if or when T-Rex forces attack. His expression softened slightly. I am sorry, but I need my right hoof here. Kane's brow furrowed for a moment. She stepped around to Shining Armor's side. General, forgive me, but I have an idea. You see, I'm capable of performing the shield spell, same as Captain Armor here. Mine's not as refined, but I do have a greater power reserved in him. She quickly looked to him. No offense meant, Shiny. Shining Armor kept a smile, an untaken cadence. He looked at Span Steel. General, the first target won't be Camelot, but Ponyville. The rest of Equestrian armed forces will be busy elsewhere, but the Royal Guard can secure that town and butt T-Rex attack there. He placed a hoof on his chest, right below the Royal Guard's insignia. General, please! I spent the past few years rebuilding the Royal Guard into the force it once was. Don't let it go to waste by having them sitting behind my shields and twiddling their pads. Span Steel hesitated. I still need someone to coordinate Candelot's defense, though. He had their looks, he nickered slightly. I'll be leading the attack from my personal airship, the Magnus, right after I give the order for full mobilization of the armed forces. Captain Armor can maintain his shield and direct the Royal Guard at the same time. He stared at Kane through the slits of his helmet. Can you, Princess? Kane opened her mouth, but closed it. Her eyes shifted back and forth. I don't know, she confessed. She tucked her head low, mane flattening a bit. Blue Blood, standing apart from others, spoke up. If I may offer a suggestion and some help with this. He walked forward, stopped in front of Shining Armor, and stepped to attention and saluted. First Lieutenant Blue Blood, formerly of the Royal Guard, at your command, sir. Shining Armor's right foreleg shot up on instant. He blinked and his foreleg dropped. Wait, what? That's what I'm saying, Shining, he asked, tilting his head to the side. Span Steel spoke up. Prince Blue Blood was in the Royal Guard before you, Captain. Shining Armor's horn sparked. His eyes narrowed and he paused on the floor. So what in Tartarus makes you think I put the Royal Guard in the hose of someone from before I worked my flank off, rebuilding it to something good? He asked, staring at Blue Blood. Blue Blood met his stare with one of surprising intensity. Because Auntie wanted me to do that, Shining. His horn glowed, and his body was enveloped in a blue spear. He quickly faded, revealing armor covering him from muzzle to tail. I'll admit some of my colleagues preferred a more relaxed attitude. You mean revolting. Shining Armor counter. Well, perhaps, but I assure you my own territory was exemplary. Those house generals still here, Woodward said, looking to the Pegasus. The other three looked to Spanish Steel and nodded. As a meat. Blue Blood did a darn good job right in the Royal Guard. In fact, Princess Celestial wanted him to do what you've done with it. He glanced at Blue Blood, still not sure why he resigned. Blue Blood shrugged. At the time, it seemed to be made the captain of a sinking ship. I am glad that Captain Armor's done such a good job with it. He looked at Shining Armor, and his presence intensified. Captain, I project the air of a thoughtless layabout, and some of it may be true, but I truly love Canterlot and Equestria, and T-Rex forces will conquer this city over my dead body. Do you understand me? Shining Armor met Blue Blood's stare with one of his own. Understand, Blue Blood. Spanish Steel spoke up. All right then, captains. Blue Blood and Shining Armor looked to him. Captains? Spanish Steel rolled his eyes. Considered it a field promotion. His legs extended and drew both unicorns close to his head with him. Now, before I fly off to the madness, let me make one thing clear to the both of you. If either of you try any powder plays or stepping in each other's paths, I will find out, and then I will be displeased. His wings stepped back, letting the two step back. Do you understand me? Shining Armor and Blue Blood snapped to attention and saluted. Yes, sir! They both shied. Spanish Steel turned to Canes and Fancy Pants. Chancellor, Princess, may the herd travel with you in these dark hours. If you excuse me, my soldiers need me. And with that, he flew into the air, sped to the balcony and out the throne room. Fancy Pants tossed him a salute as he left. And may they walk with you, General. He looked at his fellow unicorns. To the stallions, I believe it would be prudent for me to escort her highness to the heaviest level of the palace for her shield span. He smiled as he stared down. I believe it'd be best to avoid flying down, for safety's sake. And I know a shortcut or two that can save some time off the trip there. Kate bowed her head to him. Thank you, Chancellor. She cantered over to Shining Armor and nuzzled him. Be careful, she whispered into his ear. I love you. Shining Armor returned to nuzzle. I love you too, and I will. They broke off, staring into each other's eyes for a moment, before sharply turning away, red coloring their cheeks as a slight snickering could be heard. Fancy Pants and Cadence exited the throne room, Blue Blood and Shining Armor behind them. They stepped into a crowded corridor. Ponies and other species running back and forth. A small group waiting just outside the door surged forward, asking questions that quickly turned into incoherent background noise. Fancy Pants' horn lit up, and his mongrel flew about, following his gaze as he focused on several members of the Senate and Cabinet. Quiet! I say, quiet! He waited for the babbling to die down before continuing. Busybody! Begin organizing the evacuation if it hasn't already started. Lifestyles, get the rest of the Senate into shelters. As for the rest of you who aren't soldiers, if you do not have anything to do that helps with the security of Canterlot, I suggest you get to safety now. Does everyone understand? Under nods and affirmations, he smiled. Good show, then. He looked at the kids. Your Majesty, if you follow me. The pair turned and galloped off, most of the others leaving as well. A few ponies and donkeys in armor of royal guard stood in front of Shining Armor and Blue Blood, awaiting orders from the former and staring quizzically at the latter. Shining Armor focused on a tan-colored Pegasus. Lieutenant Sentry, please escort Captain Blue Blood. Yes, Captain Blue Blood, to the war room, and send word for every squad captain to gather in the war room for instructions. Lieutenant Flash Sentry stepped to attention and saluted with a wing. Sir! Yes, sir! He barked out, before falling into the air and flying over to Blue Blood's side. If you follow me, Captain. Blue Blood looked at Shining Armor. Coming, fellow captain. Shining Armor shook his head. I have to check the perimeter, Blue Blood, but I'll be along as soon as I can. He turned and galloped off, looking behind him and shouting, Don't give away Caroline until I give back! He sighed before turning a corner and disappearing. Blue Blood slapped a hoof against his face. Ugh! He will never let me forget that, will he? He turned to Flash Sentry. Lieutenant, it might be best for you to take point. It's been a while since I've been down to the war room. A bit too long. He admitted, cheeks coloring red. Flash Sentry nodded to him. Understandable. If you follow me, Captain. He spread his wings out a bit, using them as impromptu shield to bear away any obstacles in their path. Blue Blood followed him. His gaze drifted up to several stained glass windows along the hallway. Several of them Celestia, Luna, or both. He suppressed a shudder before speeding his gaze up. following Flash Sentry and squashing any bad feelings emerging. Celestia looked up at the sun and stretched her wings out. She basked in the golden glow, feeling her strength returning to her under its golden rays. The occasional shadow bolt wiped out for the air free, but a bolt of her magic either sent it scurrying back into the undergrowth or outright vaporized it. Two hemispheres of light suddenly formed, popping out of existence and leaving behind the princess ponies and a ball of bush lilies. The ponies all had their wands strapped to their barrels and wore battered old armor, while the bush lilies wore helmets, gauntlets, and carried oversized swords and shields. Royal blue as Serena stumbled away from the others, eyes crossed. "Warn us next time you're going to do that!" Serena said. She suddenly turned and ran behind a bush before emptying the contents of her stomach. Sparkle nickered and closed her eyes. "I told you it has been too long since I've winked." She looked up to Celestia. "Oh my!" A wand floated off her arm and off the alicorn, glowing slightly. "Overtaxed yourself?" she asked. Celestia's wings rippled as he felt the magic flowing into her. "Good to see you," she said. "We missed you at the gala." Primrose tarred to Sparkle's flank and nodded to her. "Very sorry about that, but someone got us lost and refused to ask for directions." She tossed her head back. "I mean, it's not like we rarely get to Canterlot, and then it's by air chariot during the daytime." Sparkle stumbled a bit, wand waving back and forth. An errant wave of magic waved over a patch of grass, sending it shooting nearly a foot into the air. Sparkle turned and glared at Primrose. "Do you mind?" The bush lilies followed along, somehow keeping together and rolling along the ground. Swords were thrust out at irregular intervals to steer the withering mass along. "Gotta help Megan! Yeah, gotta help her! Gotta stop T-Rex too! Yeah, stop T-Rex!" A minute passed and Luna came into view. She corkscrewed around as several Pegasi dove at her, their wings slashing through the air. Her body dissolved into mist, and the two of them slammed into each other, falling into the floors or crashing into the canopy. Luna's body reformed as she spun, razor-sharp feathers flying from her wings. He sliced through several more shadow bolts, ending their existence. She landed, the box flying forward and carrying over to Celestia. "Here are the elements," Luna said. She looked at the princess ponies and bush lilies and smiled. "Thank you for coming so quickly." Tiffany and Primrose walked over and gave her a quick nuzzle. "The least we could do for missing the gala," Primrose said before giving Sparkle a playful look and wink. Luna looked up at the hole leading to Earth. "I assume Mike and the others haven't returned." Celestia trotted over to her sister's side and shook her head. "Not yet, but they should be along soon." She glanced away from Luna and swallowed. "I hope they'll be along soon." Luna extended a wing and brought Celestia in for a hug. "They will be, Sally. It's not like last time. They'll be back." Minerva stirred in the Richards' backyard, cell phone in hand. She paced back and forth, weightily whiling with her free hand and stopping every once in a while to massage her forehead. "Yes, sir. I seem to assume that if T-Rex succeeds, we are looking at a Class 7 incursion. With the powder he's stolen and the powder he's already had, we're looking at someone capable of affecting planetary bodies at least." She paused a moment before continuing. "But yes, sir. Yes, I know. I attend them. Thank you, sir." She disconnected and slid her phone into her pocket. A few minutes passed, and Mike, Molly, and Danny exited the house, each one with various firearms, ammunition, and a knapsack. Minerva looked them over. "Unprepared, I see." She suddenly slapped her forehead. Study. Stupid choice of words for my part." Mike waved her off with a confident hand. "No worries, Minerva." He clutched Mega's rifle in his other hand and held it up. Molly stepped to Minerva's side. "So, any word from the government about when they're sending something here?" Minerva glanced at the Rainbow Bridge. "It's going to be a few hours before anything can arrive. But personally, I don't have a damn clue what's going to be able to fit through that small hole in the sky beyond us maybe a soldier, one at a time, and without any substantial equipment." She shook her head. "Vehicles, heavy weapons, just too tiny." She looked to the three and expressed her softened. "I'm sorry. I wish there was something more I could do." Molly reached over and patted Minerva on her shoulder. "Hi, no worries. You got the word out at least." She looked up at the hole in the space and reached into her pocket and withdrew the silver teleportation disc Celestia had given her. "Okay, one last check before we go, everyone. We all went to the bathroom, right?" Danny set his fingers. "Oh, darn. I knew there was something I forgot." Molly stared down at him. "Tell me you're joking." Danny stared back at her, tilting his head to the side. "I'm joking!" He looked at Mike. "I swear she was adopted sometimes." Minerva looked him over. You three are sure you'll be right over there? This sounds like it's going to be a war zone over there. Mike shook his head, the motion somewhat hindered by the helmet war. There's nothing that's going to stop me from saving Megan. He held up a rifle. I'll charge through those shadow bolts and Ursa lasers and whatever the hell T-Rex got up his sleeves! He doesn't have any powers, is understandably probably weaker than the other group, has no idea what he's doing, and is still willing to go through hell to save his wife. Megan, keep him! Danny patted him on his armored forearm while looking at Minerva. I don't think there's any chance of stopping Mike here, Minerva. As for Molly and I, we've got a lot of experience with this sort of thing. Everything Megan wrote in her books happened. There may have been some mild exaggeration here and there, but overall, what she wrote, we lived through. Minerva let out a breath. Thank you. She slid a pair of sunglasses out of her jacket pocket and slid them over her eyes. She slid a small button on the right temple of her arm, and the interior lenses lit up with a soft blue glow. She turned from the others, slid her laser pistol out of her holster, and held it up. A targeting reticle appeared on the right lens. Syncing complete. A voice chimed out. Minerva turned back and pulled out her own disc. See you on the other side, she said, squeezing it and fancying in a silver flash. Molly, Mike, and Danny soon followed, disappearing from Earth and quickly reappearing back in Equestria. They looked around quickly, spotting Celestia, Luna, the princess ponies, and the bush lily blob. They ran over to him, their gaze drawn to the shadow bolts hovering over the Everfree and moving from the edge of the foreboding forest. Celestia and Luna's heads whipped around as the gauntlet quartet approached. You're back! Celestia cried out, smiling as tears glimmered in her eyes. She leaned down and nuzzled Mike slightly. I'm so glad you're back. Mike gently patted the side of Celestia's head. No way anyone's keeping me from this. He looked up at the darkening sky. That's a lot of biogas up there. Luna snorted, steam billowing from her nostrils and scorching the air. Shadowbolts, Mike! They're not quite alive, but they can't die. Her mane rippled, and the chest of her antagonist flowed over. Hopefully, with these, they can be stopped once and for all. Minerva stepped up to Celestia and Luna and bowed. Princesses, I've sent word to my government. They're sending soldiers and vehicles, but it's going to be a few hours before any substantial forces arrive, and I'm not sure what can fit through the Rainbow Bridge without teleportation anyway. Celestia broke from Mike's side and trotted over to Minerva. Thank you, she said, and thank you for coming back to help. Minerva adjusted her sunglasses. This is not a problem, Your Highness. Molly and Danny, meanwhile, wandered over to the princess's ponies. Monsieur de Gala, Danny said, winking at Sparkle. Sparkle's pale blue coat blushed, and she hunkered down slightly, kicking at the dirt. She groaned. Okay, I got a sauce! I'm sorry! Primrose of royal blue sided up to her, leaning in close. We're just teasing you, she said, but I suppose we went a bit too far. Sorry. Sparkle waved her off with her hoof. No need, Primrose, no need. She looked up at Molly and Danny. We'll be helping out with rescuing Megan. Danny and Molly seized a look. I think even with the spell Luna put on my wheelchair, I'd slow everyone down, Danny said, pointing the glowing rims of his wheels with one hand, while the other tapped the barrel of a Remington Model 870 pump-action shotgun. I think if any shadowbolts make it to Ponyville, they're going to be for a rude surprise from Bessie here. Molly motioned to a pair of pistols holstered at hips and knapsacks. I'll be at Ponyville too, although if I see anyone injured, I'll do my best to help them. Minerva walked over. What's your backs? She looked at the princess ponies in their old-style armor. Princess ponies, right? Guardians of the Heart of Ponyland? Danny chuckled. You did your research. I'll make sure Megan autographs your copies. Primrose hefted her wand with her teeth. We shall hold the line here, she proclaimed, stomping the ground with her armor hose, leaving Small imprisoned. No shadowbolts shall pass as long as we draw breath in our bodies. Sparkle and Royal Blue looked at her. Well, we'll do our best, Royal Blue said. We won't stop all of them, but we'll take out as many as we can. The bush lilies, meanwhile, rolled to the Everfree, tumbling about with swords and shields as if ready. A pair of Earth Pony shadowbolts rusted, but it rolled right over them, barely stopping. It continued on, leaving the shadowbolts behind bleeding profusely and bruised. Celestia walked back to Mike. Mike, may I see Megan's rifle, please? She gently gripped her telekinesis and floated in front of her. The tip of her horn glowed, and a thin beam of magic shot out, carving intricate designs into the barrel and stock. She floated it back to Mike, who grabbed it from her. That should do for now. Mike held it up and looked down at the set. Do what for now? He aimed at the small group of Shadow Bolt Pegasi hovering above the canopy and squeezed the trigger. A large bolt of energy shot from the barrel, flying up into Pegasi and exploding in a fireball that engulfed them before any could react. It faded, leaving behind little more than ash floating on the wind. Can I have that? Mike slowly lowered the rifle and whistled. Shh, thanks. He turned around and looked at Everfree, inching toward it. So, any idea when Twilight's getting back with her friends? He asked, clutching the rifle in his gauntleted hands. Twilight and Spike appeared in the center of Main Street. The townsfolk all around them were in various states of panic, most staring at the clouds of shadow bolts hanging over the Everfree, and the Ursa Major standing guard, but a few began running around. The flower trio had fainted in front of their flower shop, forelegs still held to their forehead. Twilight glanced to her left as Sakura glanced up, cloak fluttering behind her, and stick balanced on her left shoulder. Oh, thank goodness! She exclaimed as the Sakura slowed down. Sakura! Oh! I'm so sorry. I didn't go check on you or anything, Clay said, ears flattening against her skull. Sakura reached out and patted Twilight on her shoulder. Do not worry, dear Twilight. You have much on your plate considering T-Rex might. I feel there will be much pain and sorrow before the end of this night. Spike stepped over to her. Hey, did Stephen Magnet make out too? His exit was rushed, but he slithered out quick. He did indeed get the sailboats to slip. Fluttershy peeked out from the barrel of the river serpent, lounging in the river beside her cottage. Are you all right, Mr. Magnet? Stephen looked at her, and the rest of the animals gathered around. Oh, quite fine, dearly. Tell to be sorry for starting you like that. Twilight, Spike, and Sakura looked down at the chaos. Mare stumbled by. A silver flask cuts in the fold of her right foreleg. Keep calm, everyone. See how she shouted, stumbling around. Just a bucket! She took a swig from the flask and stumbled off, hiccuping. Twilight narrowed her eyes. She floated a barrel over and leapt up onto it and shouted, Listen up, everyone! She waited for some of them to gather around before continuing. I know things look pretty bad at the moment, but right now, panicking is the last thing any of us can afford to do right now. She looked around. Has anyone seen Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Fluttershy, or Pinkie Pie? A cloud suddenly dropped out of the sky and shook apart, revealing Dash. Applejack galloped down the street for the merchant section, while Rarity and Pinkie Pie trotted and bounced down the opposite direction. Okay, Twilight, mind filling us in on the shadow bolts over the Everfree? Dash asked, arching an eyebrow. Twilight sucked in a breath. T-Rex the Abomination has come back from the dead, kidnapped Megan to possess her, and summoned an army to try and conquer Equestria. Princess Luna's gone off to get the elements of harmony for us, and Princess Celestia is summoning help as I speak, she said, the words rushing out. The crowd stared at her for a few moments. Applejack suddenly reared back and kicked the air. All right, listen up, folks! I already spotted some panicking ponies around here, but we ain't got time for that! We need everyone to keep calm, you hear? Mirror sweat the others, but no one ran off or screamed. Charlie spoke up. Twilight, do you have a plan? Twilight focused on the teacher. She screwed her eyes shut. Does anyone know where Fluttershy is? Dash Foreleg shot up. She's back here at college. Cottage, want me to go get her? Twilight nodded. She turned and zoomed off, a rainbow-colored contrail behind her. Manes and trees fluttered in her wake as she sped off, quickly disappearing. Twilight bit her lip. Okay, I need everyone to get inside and stay inside. It's going to get dangerous out here, and we don't need anyone hurt or killed. She looked to Charlie, then to Dizzy hovering in the air, and finally to Spike. Can you three please gather all the foals to the schoolhouse? Charlie and Dizzy looked to each other, then Twilight. You can count on us, Charlie said, her expression grim. She turned and galloped off. Come on, Dizzy! She shouted over her shoulder. My students need me! Spike stood up straight and saluted. You can count on me, Twilight! Twilight smiled and wrapped her forelegs around him. I know, Spike. Thank you. She broke the embrace as he ran off after Charlie. Okay, that's good progress. Applejack's eyes shifted back and forth. Twilight, the Crusaders are back at the treehouse, and I know the shortest way there. Twilight hopped off the barrel and patted her friend on the shoulder. Thanks, Applejack. Mike was worried about Danielle and Michelle anyway. How fast can you get there and back? Applejack adjusted her hat. Faster than a Paris Bryant can eat a bushel of apples. Twilight's horn glowed, and a headset suddenly appeared in front of Applejack. She floated over to her head. Over her head, another one appeared on her head. Thanks. Ready you in when you're done, okay? Applejack reared back, kicked the air, and whinnied before running and galloping off, leaving a trail of dust behind. Rarity spoke up. Twilight, dear, what's the Pinky and I do? Twilight focused on them. Get to the Rainbow Bridge as fast and safely as you can. Please tell the princesses we'll be as long as quickly as we can. Pinky rose to her hind legs and said, Got you, Twilight! She looked at Rarity. Want to race? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go! She said, before turning and galloping off. Rarity rolled her eyes. So unbecoming. She suddenly took off. I knew it, cheated! Twilight let out a breath and looked at the rest of the ponies standing there. Okay, get to cover! She shouted, telekinetically pushing them off. She looked to Sakura as the ponies ran out to various buildings. Sakura, it might be best for you to get inside too. I mean, no offense, but if the Shadow Bolts attack Ponyville, they'll kill anyone and everyone they see. Sakura bowed her head. There is no feed defect. Without my posters or equipment, there is little I can do yet. She turned and stopped to look at Twilight. But please, my friend, be careful too. T-Rex would not hesitate to end you. Twilight shrugged as Sakura left. Wouldn't be the first time for my friends and I. It probably won't be the last. She tilted her head to the side, and now I wonder if it's good or bad I'm getting used to life-threatening situations. Mare stumbled by once more, flask gone, and speech somewhat slurred. Okay, that answers that question. Good to know.